The resolution you have seen, the resolution being debated this evening is as follows. Be it resolved that the Holy Scriptures are the sole, the only, infallible rule for faith, for life in the church. This, of course, was the so-called formal principle of ultimate authority that lay at the root of the Protestant Reformation in the 16th century. This question of where ultimate authority rests in the realm of faith continues to be the foundational question for our lives, as the question of authority is always so crucial in every area, as we see it evidenced in our nation these days in the political arena. Speaking for the resolution this evening is the Reverend James R. White, a most experienced debater. I myself first met Dr. White 4 years ago, I believe it was, when he was my opponent in a debate regarding the proper subjects of baptism held in the Phoenix area. But thinking exclusively of his debates with representatives of Roman Catholicism, he has had more than 24 such debates since 1990. I'm wondering, is it my mic with all the feedback? We'll try it down lower, see if it is. As some are called to be pastors, some to be teachers, some to be evangelists, Dr. White, it seems, is called primarily to be a debater and an author. Among his many books, Answers to Catholic Claims, Justification by Faith, The Roman Catholic Controversy, Mary, Another Redeemer, Letters to a Mormon Elder, Is the Mormon My Brother, The King James Only Controversy, The Forgotten Trinity, and most recently, The Potter's Freedom. His master's degree is from Fuller Seminary and his doctorate from Columbia Seminary in Longview, Washington. Dr. White is the director of Alpha and Omega Ministries, a Christian apologetics ministry based in Phoenix, and it's a great pleasure to have him with us this evening. Now, speaking against the resolution this evening, we have Dr. Mitchell Pacwa. Father Pacwa is a Jesuit priest, currently assistant professor of Scripture at Dallas University. He earned his bachelor's degree summa cum laude at the University of Detroit, his MDiv degree magna cum laude at the Jesuit School of Theology of Loyola University. His PhD degree was awarded by Vanderbilt in Old Testament. He has taught many courses in many institutions in both Old Testament and New Testament. He is the contributing editor of both This Rock and Touchstone. He has published 2 books, Catholics and the New Age, and Father, Forgive Me, for I Am Frustrated. I hope that wasn't after one of these debates, as well as writing many articles and essays. Most significant for our topic tonight, his chapter in the 1997 book edited by Robert Sunjanus, Not by Scripture Alone, a Catholic critique of the Protestant doctrine of sola scriptura. And it's a pleasure to welcome Father Pacwa this evening. Now, the format that we're going to be following tonight will be rather formal. I don't expect you to remember it. Let's hope I do. But let me just outline it quickly so that you won't be too surprised as we go along tonight. Both speakers are going to have 4-minute introductory statements. Then there will be opening presentations of 12 minutes each, followed by first rebuttal and clarification, 5 minutes each. And then the first section of the debate will end with the first cross-examination, 8 minutes each. And then will be time for a break, 15 minutes. We're going to have to abide very strictly by that time limit tonight. Okay, it's time to get started with the introductory presentation, and Dr. White will get us started.
I welcome you all here this evening. I am very thankful that you have taken the time to come out, even when we have important topics taking place in our nation, to consider what in reality is a far more important topic. For while the situation in our land will pass, the topic that we are addressing has eternal ramifications in regards to the gospel itself. What is the gospel? The scriptures tell us that the gospel is the power of God unto salvation. And while we will be discussing sola scriptura and the belief that the scriptures are the sole infallible rule of faith of the church this evening, I want you to understand from the beginning that the reason that I discuss this, or really any other issue in the debates that we have done over the years, is because each one of these debates goes back to the issue of the gospel itself. I believe that without a sure word from God, we cannot proclaim the gospel with power. The gospel is based upon God's revelation to us in Scripture. And if that word is uncertain, if God's revelation to us is uncertain, then there is no basis upon which we can proclaim the gospel with certainty. It is my conviction that the claims and assertions of the Roman Catholic Church in regard to her own authority have resulted not in a clarification of the gospel, but instead in a diminishment, and sadly, in the official teachings of the church, I believe a substitution for the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that is why we must address this issue, because I am convinced that without sola scriptura, there is no unchanging gospel that is the same in every age and every nation. But because God has given us His Word, because it is God-breathed, it has His authority, then we can know that the gospel proclaimed by the apostles and the gospel that has been true in every generation remains true in our generation and for our children and our children's children. That is the reason that we gather here this evening. Now, I am very much looking forward to this particular encounter. Father Pacwa and I have debated 3 times before, twice here in the San Diego area on justification and the Mass, and about 2 or 3 years ago now on Long Island on the subject of the papacy. Many of you have heard me say, any of you have heard me speak in other places, have heard me say that of all the individuals that I have debated, I have the most respect for Mitchell Pacwa. The debate this evening, if it goes as our previous 3 debates have gone, will not be about James White and Mitchell Pacwa. It won't be about the fact that I can wear colorful ties and he cannot.